Good evening, everybody. It is midweek, finally. We're getting there. We're almost there. It is August the 5th, and these are some of the headlines on BizarreBest.com. Negligence probed in deadly Beirut blast amid public anger. Brain chip will allow users to take charge of moods and emotions. New York City sets up quarantine checkpoints, tightens travel restrictions. Chicago leaders want to cancel history classes until an alternate can be found. You mean rewriting history. Astronauts describe what a splashdown feels like in the SpaceX Dragon. All these headlines and many more are at BizarreBest.com.
BizarreBest.com. Real news, no bullshit.
Negligence is being probed in the deadly Beirut blast amid public anger. Investigators probing the deadly blast that ripped across Beirut focused Wednesday on possible negligence in the storage of tons of highly explosive fertilizer in a waterfront warehouse, while the government ordered the house arrest of several port officials. International aid flights began to arrive as Lebanon's leaders struggled to deal with the widespread damage and shocking aftermath of Tuesday's blast, which the health ministry said killed 135 people and injured about 5,000 others. Dude, that's crazy. Public anger mounted against the ruling elite that is being blamed for the chronic mismanagement and carelessness that led to the disaster. The Port of Beirut and Customs Office is notorious for being one of the most corrupt and lucrative institutions in Lebanon, where various factions and politicians, including Hezbollah, hold sway. The investigation is focusing now on 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate, a highly explosive chemical used in fertilizers, and how it came to be stored at the facility for 6 years and why nothing was done about it. I'm going to get more into that in a minute because I found another interesting story about that storage. Losses from the blast are estimated to be between $10 billion and $15 billion, adding that nearly 300,000 people are now homeless due to this blast. Beirut, as we know it, is gone, and the people won't be able to rebuild their lives, said Amy, a woman who swept glass from a small alley beside a tall building that served as a showroom for a famous Lebanese designer and was a neighborhood landmark. This is hell. How are they, the people, going to survive? What are they going to do? She said, blaming officials for lack of responsibility and stupidity. Hospitals were overwhelmed by the injured. One that was damaged in the blast had to evacuate all its patients to a nearby field for treatment. It was the worst single explosion to strike Lebanon, a country whose history is filled with destruction. From 1975 to 1990, they've had a civil war, conflicts with Israel, and periodic terrorist attacks. Lebanon already was on the brink of collapse amid a severe economic crisis and the pandemic. Many have lost their jobs and seen their savings evaporate because of a currency crisis. Food security is a worry, since the country imports nearly all of its vital goods and its main port is now devastated. The government is strapped for cash. A senior U.S. Defense Department official and member of the U.S. intelligence community said there were no indications that the explosion was as a result of an attack by either a nation, state, or proxy forces. Both spoke to the Associated Press on condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss intelligence briefings publicly. They told AP that at the moment the explosion seems to have been caused by improper storage explosives. I mean, that doesn't mean somebody didn't set the fireworks place next door on fire on purpose. They're still looking into that. Fueling speculation that negligence was to blame for the accident, an official letter circulating online showed the head of the Customs Department had warned repeatedly over the years that the huge stockpile of ammonium nitrate stored in the port was a danger and had asked judicial officials for a ruling on it on a way to remove it. Ammonium nitrate is a component of fertilizer that is potentially explosive. The 2,750-ton cargo had been stored at the port since it was confiscated from a ship in 2013, and on Tuesday it is believed to have been detonated after a fire broke out nearby. Yesterday I read that nearby fire was at a fireworks warehouse that they couldn't get put out. We shall read on. The 2017 letter from the customs chief to a judge could not be immediately confirmed, but the state prosecutor ordered security agencies to start an immediate investigation into all letters related to the material stored at the port, as well as lists of those in charge of maintenance, storage, and protection of the hangar. In addition, the customs chief warned of the dangers if the material were to remain where they are, affecting the safety of the port employees, and asked the judge for guidance. He said 5 similar letters were sent in 2014, 15, and 16. The letter proposes the material be exported or sold to a Lebanese explosives company. It is not known if there was a response. Clearly, this dude's trying to cover his ass. Can't say I blame him. They hang people over there. You know what I'm saying, y'all? The head of the Customs Department confirmed to the local LBC TV channel that there were 5 or 6 letters to the judiciary. He said his predecessor also pleaded with the judiciary to issue orders to export the explosive materials because of how dangerous they are to the port and the staff there. This dude said it was his duty to alert authorities of the dangers, but that the most he could do, he's not a technical expert, he said. President Michael Allen vowed before a cabinet meeting that the investigation would be transparent, that those responsible will be punished. Oh, I have no doubt about that. There are no words to describe the catastrophe that hit Beirut last night. Dudes, there is more on that story, but I am now going to switch over to that other story I was telling you about. Oh, great, because I love pop-ups when I'm trying to tell y'all something. Okay, this one says, Russian businessman's floating bomb behind Beirut's explosion, says this report from the New York Post. The massive stockpile of fertilizer that exploded this week in Beirut killed at least 135 people, was a known risk for 7 years and was even described as a floating bomb by the crew of the Russian cargo ship that brought it to the port city in the first place. The 2,750 metric tons of ammonium nitrate, the explosive material used in terror attacks like Timothy McVeigh's 1995 bombing. So, it's not only used in fertilizers, it's used in bombs, y'all. Clearly. This stuff unexpectedly arrived in Lebanon's capital in 2013 on a cargo ship that was supposed to be heading to Mozambique. The MV Rosas, owned by a Russian, Igor, nobody can pronounce his last name, instead made an unscheduled stop and was abandoned after the motorcycle-loving businessman went bankrupt, according to reports and officials. This Russian dude, Igor, currently lives in Cyprus with his wife, Irina, while his 20-year-old son studies computer science at Glasgow in Scotland. Neither the Russian dude, the businessman, nor any of his family have commented about the alleged ties to the Beirut blast. You mean your abandoned bomb? His crew, mostly from Russia and Ukraine, and flying under the Moldovan flag, had immediately sounded the alarm. However, telling marine expert Mikhail, somebody else's name you can't pronounce, for a 2014 report that their cargo amounted to a floating bomb. It was not immediately clear why Igor, who owned Tito Shipping, was carrying such a devastating load of ammonium nitrate, or exactly why the Rosas stopped in Beirut, blaming unspecified mechanical issues. Was it left there on purpose? Was Igor paid to abandon it there? These are some of the questions we need to be asking Igor. It became an instant legal scandal, however, with several crew, including the captain, stuck on it for months after this Igor dude abandoned them, according to a report by lawyers who fought for their release. The owner actually abandoned the vessel and crew. Salaries not paid, supplies not purchased. The cargo owner refused the cargo. And this was all logged in 2014. They said the ship was a floating bomb and the crew became a hostage on the bomb. Dude, they couldn't even get off the bomb. What? Lebanese officials eventually seized the material that year, keeping it in the warehouse at the port that exploded Tuesday night. And what officials have compared to the nuclear attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's exactly what it looked like, but it was this freaking stuff blowing up. Repeated warnings were raised over the 6 years it was stored, including just 6 months ago when inspectors warned the seized material could blow up all of Beirut. The Director General of Lebanese Customs also told broadcaster LBCI on Wednesday that Customs had sent 6 documents to the judiciary warning that the material posed a danger, but nobody gave a shit. Everyone just kept la-di-daing around. Oh, there's only a bomb over there. Just ignore that big elephant in the room. We requested it to be re-reported, but that did not happen. We leave it to the experts and those concerned to determine why. Another source said that nothing was done about the clear warnings, calling it negligence. Ammonium nitrate is an odorless crystalline substance commonly used as a fertilizer, is a well-known danger, and not just in terror attacks, but also the cause of numerous industrial explosions over decades. These include a Texas fertilizer plant in 2013 that killed 15 and another at a chemical plant in France in 2001 that killed 31, which was accidental. The ship must just be like pissed off all the time, like old dynamite. The fears were realized Tuesday when a fire that started at Beirut's Warehouse 9 spread to Warehouse 12. So 9 must have been the fireworks, and this ammonium nitrate was in 12. The fires feared to have been sparked by... The fires is feared to have been sparked by welders making repairs, while other sources told the Associated Press it may have been started by fireworks. So I guess they're still working that out. But the failure to deal with the stockpile of ammonium nitrate is unacceptable, and said those responsible would face the harshest punishment. I have no doubt. But there's, that's the rest of the little side note that they kind of weren't telling on that other story, which I thought you wouldn't find very interesting. In any event, these two stories are linked at bizarrebus.com. Elon Musk's Neuralink brain chip will soon allow users to take charge of moods and emotions. Elon Musk's Neuralink currently develops a new feature on their brain chip that will enable humans to go forth and choose the mood by balancing off a person's hormone levels. Let me get a hit, y'all. Dude. The secret project mentioned by Musk teased an update that will provide new feats for the company. He stated that an event on August 28, 2020 will thoroughly explain what the tech CEO pertains. The American tech company founded by Musk, Neuralink, is working on their current project, the brain implant chip, that is capable of controlling humans' emotions and mood by emitting waves that are beyond the usual or natural frequency and amplitude. I don't see brain hacks coming in the future at all, do you? Come on, y'all. Who knows what this thing can do in your head, right? Neuralink pushes through updating the software of the project as well as the chip and other hardware of the project. The electronics report that this software update aims to make the project more potent by programming its algorithms to learn more and improve the overall system. The Neuralink ASIC neural processor is upgraded as well, together with the project's proposed threads that are going to be used to collect data from the brain. Somebody's already got this thing going on. How else would they be able to get the data? The brain chip's function would move forward from its original innovation of helping people with an entirely severed spinal cord to restore mobility and movement. The tech would help in alleviating stress and anxiety by altering and balancing the brain's hormone levels, relieving emotional tension, maybe even helping people with PTSD. You never know, right? I might need some of this, but you ain't gonna catch me being a guinea pig, y'all. Neuralink's promising technology makes use of flexible threads that are believed to be safe and effective for a brain implant. This technology will cause less of the supposed or expected harm that befalls the implant on a person's brain. The thread will function, as it is named, by having a device performing like a sewing machine. Dude, that sounds bad. It will sew threads of the brain chip that can be connected via USB cable to transmit vast loads of data for each person's intended use. Can I get a download of Taekwondo? That'd be awesome, like some Matrix action. Let me learn how to fly a helicopter in like 15 seconds. This technology is capable of connecting the human brain to a computer if it emerges successful and able to produce a working prototype. A chunk load of data bandwidth will be available for streaming and for use for the human brain. Musk is also optimistic for the chip to be pairing with artificial intelligence as the project progresses. Dude, if any of this comes to fruition, we could be in for an interesting future. I could use a new, if they could just give me a new body and put my brain in it, that'd be freaking awesome. But I wouldn't want to be the guinea pig on that. I digress. And I'll link it at bizarrebus.com. New York City is going to be setting up checkpoints into the city to check out-of-state travelers to make sure they're following quarantine rules. The New York City Sheriff's Office is setting up quarantine checkpoints at major bridges and tunnels into the city. So prepare yourself for semi-trucks to not go into those cities or parts of New York because they are not going to be wanting to wait to be quarantined or pulled over and forced to quarantine. So prep yourselves. Might want to buy extra shit. It's not just about people traveling there. Mayor Bill de Blasio made the announcement on Wednesday morning. New York is holding the line against COVID-19, and New Yorkers have shown tremendous discipline. They don't have a choice, dude. We're not going to let our hard work slip away, and we'll continue to do everything we can to keep New Yorkers safe and healthy. It's seeming more and more like they're just never going to let up. A fifth of all new coronavirus cases in the city are from out-of-state visitors, according to city officials. Local authorities are planning to set up a checkpoint in Penn Station to check visitors who arrive by train. We need to ensure visitors and New Yorkers returning home are taking the necessary precautions to limit the spread of the disease. State rules require anyone who arrives from a list of affected states is required to quarantine for 14 days arriving in the state, and there are currently 35 states on the list. Non-essential workers subject to the quarantine must stay at their residence or hotel room, leaving only for essential medical appointments or treatment or to obtain food and other essentials. Not invite guests, self-monitor for symptoms, limit their activities, etc. Anyone caught breaking the quarantine can face a $10,000 fine. Individuals who refuse to fill out the Department of Health's travel form are subject to a $2,000 fine. I'm going to keep my opinion to myself because I know they're doing what they think is right for the state, but then I worry that there's just too much government telling people what to do and how to do it at the same time. So I'm just going to keep my opinion to myself right now. But I can tell you, as someone who works with people who move freight and cars and shit on large trucks. They have already in the past owners have stopped sending those trucks to New York if they're from out of state in certain states. So, and then someone on TikTok was like, that's bullshit. Ugh. No, MF. I know what I'm talking about because I deal with it every day. Also, prices are through the damn roof. I'm talking about something that would have cost $400 or $500 before is now like in the thousands. So everything's going to go up. Food, everything. So just prepare yourself if you're in New York, in these certain places. Prepare yourself. All right, I'm going to link this at BizarreBus. Let's take a quick break, and we wanted to show you the support page at BizarreBus.com, where you can just go to BizarreBus.com and click on support us. You can choose t-shirts, anything you've seen in the videos we try to list. There's 5 different ways that you can try to support us. You can use Cash App, Zelle, PayPal, Bitcoin. You can just send a straight Zelle request if you want, Venmo. You can choose to purchase a mask, any of the t-shirts. We got Alien Lives Matter, Earth Life Matters, Black Hole Eats Matters, Black Holes Eat Matter. We've got a lot of different things you can do to support us. We would certainly appreciate it if you feel that we deserve that. Thank you so much. Well, Chicago leaders want to cancel history classes until a suitable alternative can be found. It doesn't sound very smart. You can't change what happened in history, dude. You can change the way it's been written. Let me just read. Chicago area leaders urged the Illinois State Board of Education on Sunday to halt history classes that unfairly communicate history until an alternative can be found. So who determines whether those classes are being unfairly communicated? Democratic State Representative LaShawn Ford of Chicago said the current state history curriculum leads to a racist society and may cause white privilege before a Sunday press conference in Evanston in a release obtained by NBC5. Ludicrous. In the release, Ford calls to replace courses and books that unfairly communicate history until a suitable alternative is developed. Propaganda. Because it isn't what you want it to say, so you're going to change it to what you want it to say, which is going to be probably just as racist as you thought the first one was. Fuck out of here. When it comes to teaching history in Illinois, we need to end miseducation of the people of Illinois, Ford said in the release. I'm calling on the Illinois State Board of Education and local school districts to take an immediate action by removing current history books. Just burn books, dude. Just throw them out in the street and start burning them. Because they unfairly communicate our history. Until a suitable alternative is developed, one that reads the way they want it to read, they should instead devote greater attention towards civics and ensuring students understand our democratic processes and how they can be involved. Oh, you mean teaching socialism? Yeah, I'm just going to scroll past that. Evanston Mayor Steve Haggerty, a Democrat, said according to the release, as mayor, I am not comfortable speaking on education curriculum and whether history lessons should be suspended. This is not my area. Well, make it your effing area, dude. I hate people that just ride the fence, dude. You know, one side or the other. Pick one. Don't be a douchebag because you're worried about votes. He continued, personally, I support House Bill 4954 because I am interested in learning more and believe the history of Black people should be taught to all children, include, I agree too, and all groups, women, Latin, and Native Americans who helped build America. Well, yeah, that doesn't mean you get to erase my history or whatever, dude. You know what I'm trying to say. Whatever. I can't say anything because either way it sounds terrible, right? I don't give two shits what anyone thinks of me. Let's just get that out there. I don't care. I don't care what anyone thinks of me. This has been my entire fucking life. I don't ever care what anyone thinks about me. And my kids are the same way. They don't give a shit. That's what I love about them. They're like, whatever, dude. Think what you want. Been that way in school too. I don't give two shits what you think about me. No, you ain't running your mouth to me. I know that. In person. Okay. I got off track. Mika Gardner and We Will said that in a release that miseducation has led to systemic racism. No, I can't, dude. Okay, We Will is an organization dedicated to women's empowerment, according to its webpage. It is urgent that it comes to an end as we witness our current climate becoming more hostile. I thought you were bettering your current environment with all these riots and stuff. If Black history continues to be devalued and taught incorrectly, then it will call for further action. Increased racial tensions have followed the death of Floyd. He was fucking murdered. I wish they would quit saying that too. The death of George Floyd. No, dude. You mean the murder of George Floyd? Because he was totally murdered. Who was pronounced deceased after a police officer knelt on his neck for over 8 minutes. So we need to go through that again. In any event, you get the effing point. So they want to get rid of all the history books and rewrite history in a new image. Well, y'all, and I've been saying this as parents, if I had young children right now, I would absolutely never send them to public school again. And it's not just because of, it's the current climate, dude. It's the pandemic. It's me finding out that they're basically teaching these kids socialism. This is why we're dealing with what we're dealing with right now. I would absolutely make sure that my kids learned all about history, and not just Caucasian history, but definitely all of history. Why do you think Roots was on television when I was a kid, man? We talked about it in school too. And not just that, man. There were slaves of many races, okay? It just ticks me off because there is this total cancel culture going on right now, and it's going to bite us in the ass. And you as people need to decide how you want our young generation to move forward. Somebody dropped the ball recently with some of these kids, and as parents, you need to decide whether you want to go back to a small community feel or something, because something needs to change. Anyway, I'm gonna link this at BizarreBiz. NASA astronauts describe experiencing splashdown in SpaceX Dragon. Parachute deploy felt like getting hit in the back with a chair or a baseball bat. Dude! NASA astronauts Doug and Bob described in detail what it felt like and sounded like when SpaceX's spacecraft came roaring back down to Earth for a successful splashdown in the Gulf of Mexico over the weekend. The astronauts said they were surprised by how similar the experience was to what SpaceX had prepared them for. The astronauts answered questions from NASA's Johnson Space Center on Tuesday for the first time since they landed back on their home planet. Hurley and Benkin launched on the SpaceX Dragon capsule, nicknamed Endeavour, from Kennedy Space Center on May 30th, arriving on the International Space Station the next day. The launch marked the first human space flight from Florida's coast in nearly 9 years. After more than 2 months in space, the duo journeyed back to Earth in Dragon Endeavour in about 19 hours, sleeping overnight in the spacecraft before the splashdown. The landing Sunday went smoothly by all accounts, as the spacecraft slowly descended into the Gulf of Mexico off the coast of Pensacola, all while tropical storm Isaias was barreling up Florida's Atlantic coast. The event marked the first spacecraft splashdown in 45 years. Benkin and Hurley both said the videos SpaceX showed them of what they would see and hear when they would experience it were very accurate. The videos were recorded when SpaceX's Crew Dragon made its first trip to the International Space Station, but without astronauts on board last year. Benkin walked through every step describing the descent to Earth. The first part of the deorbit events happened when the spacecraft separated from the trunk while Dragon was still in low Earth orbit. All the separation events from the trunk separation through the parachute firings were very much like getting hit in the back of a chair with a baseball bat. Just a crack. Dude. Next, as the Dragon began its deorbit burn, the capsule began coming back down to Earth. As we kind of descended through the atmosphere, I personally was surprised at just how quickly all the events had transpired. It seemed like just a couple minutes later, after the burn was complete, we could look out the window and see the clouds rushing by at a much accelerated rate. Benkin said the two continued to talk to each other, even while experiencing 4.2 G-forces, even cracking a few jokes. While the spacecraft heat shield protects the capsule and the astronauts, Benkin described a warming of the capsule on the inside as it descended through Earth's atmosphere. That had to be kind of like freaky. Benkin said next, before the parachutes deployed, they could feel Crew Dragon maneuver itself for re-entry using its thrusters. It came alive. It started to fire thrusters and keep us pointed in the appropriate direction. The atmosphere starts to make noise. You can hear that rumble outside the vehicle, Benkin said. It doesn't sound like a machine. It sounds like an animal coming through the atmosphere. Dude. Crazy. The astronauts could feel the parachutes. First the drogue chutes, then the main parachutes deploy as the spacecraft slowed from 350 miles an hour to near 15 miles an hour for the splashdown. Benkin said it was a pretty significant jolt when the parachutes deployed. Hurley and Benkin both complimented the teams at SpaceX that built the spacecraft. The vehicle was rock solid right up until the nominal drogue parachute deploy. My compliments to SpaceX and the commercial crew program. The vehicle performed exactly how it was supposed to. The launch docking and splashdown marked the final test flight for SpaceX's astronaut capsule before NASA can issue a certification for regular flights for its astronauts. The spacecraft will be thoroughly inspected and refurbished before it flies another astronaut crew as early as next year. After landing in the Gulf, the astronauts had to wait about an hour before the hatch was opened, and they were helped out. That wait was partially due to some curious, idiotic boaters who approached, despite the Coast Guard attempting to warn them off, and then because of a potential fume hazard. Dude, you're holding up astronauts! Oh my God, can you imagine? Yeah, I want to be that guy holding up astronauts who, I don't know, just spent 2 months in space for your benefit. Jerk. While they waited, the astronauts used the satellite phone to make a few phone calls. They called numbers they couldn't remember, according to Hurley, including the flight director in Houston. They called any numbers they could remember, according to Hurley, including the flight director in Houston. I had said that wrong. Hi, this is Bob and Doug. We're in the ocean, Hurley said they told the flight director. The astronauts then called their wives who were together in Houston to tell them they had a safe landing. Having gone through this as a family member, you're kind of helpless until you hear the voice of your loved one on the other end, and this was a great chance to reassure them that we were okay. We were in the water and we were feeling good. After getting out of the spacecraft, the astronauts were taken by helicopter back to land, then by jet back to Houston, where they enjoyed some pizza, their first meal on Earth in more than 60 days. What an excellent story, y'all. That had to be one hell of a ride. Anyway, thanks for joining me tonight. I really appreciate that. And I've been getting some good compliments back about people who are checking out, because I'm uploading the news every night now on the podcast. So some people are really digging that they can listen to it on the go. All right, y'all. Well, you take care. I'll see you tomorrow. Stay bizarre.
Yeah. Make sure you take a deep breath. Think positive. Just saying.
Dude. Penguins given free rein to roam around the aquarium since there's no visitors allowed. That's awesome! Dude, look! He's looking around! He's loving it! I got a new section on the headlines page at the bottom called Bad Seeds. Matt Gaetz of Florida, 1st Congressional District, mocked the whole process by wearing a gas mask when reviewing the funding. You're a super freaking winner, dude. An Alaska airman has been punished for peeing in the office coffee maker. Dude, why? Like, why? Did you take it in the bathroom with you? Did you stand in the kitchen and whip it out? Clearly, this airman is dedicated to getting kicked the F out. He's trying really hard, y'all.